The juices are flowing, ladies and gentlemen. Joining me on the line as he does every Friday on the show, he is from Cinemablend.com, and his name is Mike Reyes. Hey, Mike, what's going on?
Christmas juice! I'm fine, actually. All right, so I only shout that because we are going to be talking about quite a few Christmas movies today. And even though I still think it's a little early because of covering all this holiday cheer, I'm a little more open to it this year.
You know,
I'm feeling a little more of the Christmas spirit. Go on.
I'm definitely feeling it more because we finally got snow before Christmas. It snowed here this week.
It's hard not to feel it with snow.
Yeah, and like the first day that we got it, even driving to work, I got on Spotify and I put on Christmas music and was listening to it. But hey, can I do a shameless plug for something for Christmas real quick?
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. I got to grab it out of my bag.
Ladies and gentlemen, while B-sox is preparing for this shameless plug, I'd like to talk to you today about Thanksgiving. It still exists. It's still a holiday. I think that even though with its complicated history, Thanksgiving is still wonderful because we get to eat turkey and be with people that we love, which is why this week B-sox and I are doing an Overstuffed Thanksgiving / Christmas / whatever you want to celebrate episode of our fine show. And I believe he is back right now with what he is trying to plug. Go for it.
All right. So the other day I had to go into Walmart, and right in the front door they had the Sprite limited edition winter spiced cranberry.
Yes!
It's one of the best soda pops I've ever had in my life.
It is. I grabbed the zero sugar for a friend's birthday party last weekend. I grabbed it just in general, but I ended up leaving at the party because it's like, it's a bottle of soda. Maybe you guys enjoy this as much as I do. You can have that. Yeah. I still need to get another bottle because it really is good. It reminds me of Sierra Mist cranberry flavor, obviously because they're similar competitors, but I think this one has a little more spice in it. And it reminds me of a soda. This is going on 20 years ago, this soda existed, since we're talking about holiday soda pops here. That'd be a fun episode. But do you remember Pepsi's Holiday Spice Cola?
No. I was never a big Pepsi guy, so.
Well, they had put that out as a limited edition around the time Polar Express was out, and it was pretty good. It was like Pepsi, but then you throw in like cinnamon, and I forget what the exact spice combo was. But it was good.
See, I always collected all the Coca-Cola cans when I was a kid, and I've got a bunch of the Coke ornaments for a tree. I've got enough ornaments for either Coke and Star Trek that I could do an entire tree on my own.
Oh, I would love to see that.
I would
love to see a Star Trek tree out of you.
I love the Star Trek ornaments. The one this year is the revamped Enterprise from Strange New Worlds.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I know what someone's looking for under the tree.
I just sent the link to my wife last night. I always hope to get it beforehand so I can have it up on the tree for a little bit. But I've got like the Enterprise D when they first came out with that back in the early 90s. There was a Bird of Prey, a Romulan warbird, the Enterprise E, the Runabout, the Defiant, which I cannot. I'm missing like 5 of them, and I don't know where they're at. It bugs me. So. Anyways, enough about that. You know what? Screw it, since we are talking Christmas today. Let's talk some Christmas movies.
Well, for a minute there, I thought you just cracked open a can of holiday cheer or some sort of like, is it the Sprite you got there?
Yeah, it is the Sprite. I brought one of them with me today, so I'm having that.
Sprite, we know you don't sponsor. Oh, sorry, go on.
No. Sprite, we know you don't sponsor us, but you make a fine beverage. This winter spice cranberry is awesome.
And if you want to send us some really cool stuff to, pimp out the cranberry Sprites, we'd love to. Just saying. You want to send one of your bottles to come talk to us on the show, just do it.
That would be fine. That would be just fine. So anyways, Christmas movies, we got a ton of them out this week. Where are we starting? Actually, I know where I want to start. Never mind. Scratch it. I know where I want to start. Let's do the Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell one.
Do we have to?
Why? Is it bad?
I am not a fan of Spirited.
What?
Okay, so no. Oh man, this is 2 hours that dragged for me. And what's really funny is I double featured 2 of the movies we're going to talk about today in order to get some reviews up for the site. So I watched them, and it's an interesting double feature because one, they're both musically inclined movies. One failed miserably. One did it so beautifully. And unfortunately, Spirited is the latest in the graveyard of Christmas Carol adaptations that just did not do it for me. And I love A Christmas Carol. I grew up with Mickey's Christmas Carol as my first one, and then, you go on to the Muppets, and then Scrooged, and then Robert Zemeckis' Christmas Carol is something I really like from about 11 years ago. And Christmas Carol is something that is not going to go away. I think Netflix even has another Christmas Carol coming out soon. Like maybe, I think it's in theaters this weekend, but not on streaming yet. Spirited just fell flat for me. And what's really, really disappointing about it is you look at I'm going to lay out the concept on paper and you'll hear how good it is. Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell doing a Christmas Carol musical with songs from the guys that did The Greatest Showman, La La Land, Dear Evan Hansen, from the writers and director of Daddy's Home and Instant Family. Like there's good machinery here.
Yeah.
But this is so misguided. The songs are mostly like I'm still this. The movie itself also loves the joke of, let's cut this song short because we know we're in a musical, but let's hate that we're in a musical, or have certain characters hate that we're in a musical. And they pull the Monty Python gag of, no, please, no, stop that singing, at least twice, at least a handful of times. And it leads to one of what could have been one of the best songs of the movie actually getting cut and put into the credits.
Okay.
And as if that's not bad enough, the humor is not totally family friendly. Like they really want this to be a family holiday movie, but it gets edgy enough that it's not totally a family movie, but safe enough that it never really has a bite to it. And then especially in the last act of this movie has some questionable choices where it's like, wow, like trigger warning for anybody who's sensitive to this out there. There's a cyberbullying suicide in the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come sequence.
Oh, that's
like
wonderful.
That's a plot point that you don't see it, but that's a plot point that's in there.
All right, so Spirited with
like,
Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds just isn't that good, eh?
No, eh. If you had, if you had more confident singers and dancers to rise above the mediocrity of lyrics, like that Christmas morning feeling, maybe it's just, Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell are okay singers. They're not Mamma Mia level, but they're okay.
Yeah.
But it was still just, it wasn't, they did not have enough in the tank to push past just stuff that should be on a Ray Dunn mug and not in a musical.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com talking about movies. So Spirited, we spiritedly throw it away or something. I'm trying to do a segue.
I'm going to ghost this movie.
Yeah, okay. That one was good. That one was good. Next up is we're talking about A Christmas Story Christmas, right?
Yes. Oh, man. So I grew up as a Christmas Story kid. My family bought that VHS when it came out. They loved it to death. I love it to death. So obviously hearing that Christmas Story Christmas was coming was a little bit of a concern because of the fact that, yeah, there have been other attempts to go back to Ralphie and his family, but they've been varying, degrees of success. There is one movie I will throw out there that I love. It's called either It Runs in the Family or A Summer Story, depending on how you pick it up.
Okay.
You have Charles Grodin playing the old man and one of the Culkin kids playing Ralphie. And it's a whole summer adventure where I think they're going to like a beach or something. And it's really funny. Like that's one of the ones that I've seen that I like. I have not seen A Christmas Story 2, and I hear that's bizarre. And I never did see the musical, which funny enough has the songs and music written by the guys who did Spirited. So now I'm kind of afraid to touch that. But A Christmas Story Christmas is a proper sequel to A Christmas Story. You've got Peter Billingsley back as Ralphie.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Scott Schwartz and R.D. Robb back as Flick and Schwartz. Scott Farkas does appear in here, and Zach Ward is back as Scott Farkas. But the basic gist is we flash forward to 1973. Ralphie's living in Chicago. He's got kids. He's trying to be a writer, and he gets the call that his dad died.
Oh,
and
the old man.
The family I know. I I didn't know what was coming, and I didn't want to know before watching the movie, because this was one of the junkets that I did recently. And I just went into it cold, and then that just hit me. Like, not only because of the fact that Darren McGavin's old man is just one of those legendary characters, but, you know, my wife lost her father a couple of years ago, and it's still sort of, you know,
you never get over losing your dad.
No, especially because he loved Christmas. Like, he loved Christmas. My grandmother on my mother's side, who passed decades ago, loved Christmas. So naturally, it's a time of year that you think of family members like that.
Yeah.
And that's basically the doorway into Ralphie bringing his family back to the old house on Cleveland Street and home in Indiana. And it doesn't just repeat Christmas Story shenanigans, but it does lovingly reference them. Peter Billingsley actually helped develop the story to it. And, you know, bringing some of the original cast back is also fantastic. And watching Ralphie try to navigate Christmas as a parent is a perfect bookend to remembering Christmas Story and how he did it as a kid. And this really is just a lot of fun, where it's getting the gang back together, but it's not just, oh, well, you know, we're doing it because people like Christmas Story. Like, when I was talking to Peter Billingsley in the interview, he said, well, you know, except for the musical, I didn't touch anything else on this property.
Yeah.
And I didn't touch anything else with these movies because I felt like there needed to be enough time and enough meat on the bone to get back in. And then when they found those angles, they were enthusiastic. The studio, you know, they actually built like a street of houses, I think in Canada. Like, they built the street, the old street that Ralphie lives on, back up and filmed there. And it's a lot of fun. It's very bittersweet, but it doesn't weigh itself down too much, but it knows how to honor emotion. And it's just a lot of fun. I can almost guarantee people are going to want to watch A Christmas Story again after it, because the movie's literally built for that. But Peter Billingsley, cool dude. Christmas Story, Christmas, cool movie, just really beautiful. It's on HBO Max right now, streaming.
Perfect. I can't wait. I'm really excited about it. So, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me to talk about movies. Where are we going next?
Well, I think a good place to go is what may be the best movie. Oh, no, it's one of the best movies we'll talk about this week, because we'll wrap up this week's movies, and then, since this is our Overstuffed Thanksgiving
Christmas
edition,
edition,
or whatever you want to call it. What did you say?
Our Overstuffed Christmas, Overstuffed Thanksgiving Christmas.
I kind of like that.
I think that's what I'm going to name.
I really like that.
I'm going to name the episode that.
This is an Overstuffed Thanksgiving Christmas appetizer, 2K22.
What's the best movie of the week?
Oh, sorry. There's two really good movies from this week.
Okay.
So second best, only by like a hair, Disenchanted is hitting Disney Plus this weekend.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about this, and we were talking earlier today off air about it. But this is the sequel to Enchanted, which I've seen once, I think. Like, I vaguely remember it, but I had to do some recall on that one. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I saw it once too and really liked it. So I was heading into this. It's like, okay, well, Hocus Pocus 2 was a decent return. Like, how many times can Disney really do that with these Lego sequels on streaming? Disenchanted is probably one of the best Lego sequels they've done, and it's probably one of the best Disney movies of the year. Like, this, the whole premise behind it is, you know, years after Enchanted, Giselle and Robert move with their family from New York to the suburbs, and things aren't exactly happily ever after, because she's having some problems with her stepdaughter, who's now a teenager. So then Giselle makes an innocent enough wish. It's like, oh, I wish she basically wants things to be more magical and wonderful like they were back home in Andalasia, the kingdom that she came from, that's all animated. The wish is granted, but it comes at a cost, because as any Disney fan knows, magic comes at a cost. And one of those costs is she starts turning into an evil stepmother.
Yay!
It's done so well, though, and as always, Amy Adams continues to be one of the most underrated and under-nominated actors of our time. The woman plays both sides of the coin so well, and seeing Amy Adams as a wicked stepmother is delightful. And just, if you thought you bought her as just a Disney princess with cheer and sunshine, she definitely does the evil stepmother act very well. And the songs are spectacular. And it's funny because it's almost the inverse of Enchanted. And I guess, you would think with a title like Disenchanted, that's par for the course. But see, the sequel problem. It's usually, hey, let's do that again, but bigger.
Yeah.
And, let's do more. Enchanted was all about Giselle acclimating herself to New York and to a realistic world. This Disenchanted is her going back to magic, but the thing is, because of that cost, she's really seeing like it's not as good as she expected, and she has to learn a lesson, and great adventure comes from it. And it surprised me how much I enjoyed this. And that was even going in saying, I love Enchanted. I'm up for this.
I don't remember, like you said, like I forgot how long ago Enchanted was. That was 2007. But I was
going to say that's 07.
Like I said, I don't remember hating Enchanted by any stretch. I just it's been so long that I don't recall a ton of it. But I'd watch this. I like Amy Adams.
Amy Adams is one of my favorite actors. Like Arrival, the fact that she didn't get nominated for Arrival continues to stick out to me like a sore thumb of anger.
A sore thumb of anger.
A sore thumb of anger. But if you want to watch Disenchanted or Enchanted, both of them are on Disney Plus this weekend.
Perfect. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line. All right, what's the best one?
Oh, do we want to wedge in Santa Clauses before we go to the best one, or do we want to wait for that? You know what? You set up the best one. We'll go with the best one.
Yeah, do the best one.
Movie this weekend's The Menu.
Is it really?
The best movie this weekend is The Menu, because I saw that back in Toronto, and I'm still puzzling over it and in love with what I've seen in this film about a mysterious restaurant that has planned everything down to the last detail for a very special meal. And you've got an incredible assortment of actors like Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicholas Hoult, Ralph Fiennes, John Leguizamo, Arturo Castoro's in there, Judith Light from Who's the Boss, and plenty of other projects. Most people would know her from Who's the Boss, but I know she's done plenty of other work after that. But just a really tightly set film, which does. Oh, and Hong Chow is an actor that is amazing when it comes to deadpan. Most people may remember her from Watchmen as one of the antagonists, where she really, like, her sarcasm and antagonism and just
the
deadpan
TV show
are some of her. Yes,
the TV
show,
version.
sorry.
No, that's fine. I went to the movie first. And then...
Yeah, Hong Chow's deadpan skills remain intact, like perfect with this film. And it's something that dances between horror, like thrilling, like it's not an outright horror movie, but there's horrific and imposing moments. Okay. And the movie dances between that and really darkly funny stuff constantly. And it does it so brilliantly that you have to see it unspoiled. You've got to go see this with a crowd. I highly recommend it.
All righty. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com on the line with me right now. So that's The Menu, the best movie of the week. Now, next week, since we're not going to be on, we're going to talk about The Glass Onion real quick, right?
Yeah, we could talk about Fabelmans and Glass Onion real quick, because both of those will be opening next week.
Wait, what was the other one?
We'll start with The Fabelmans.
The Fabelman, okay.
Yes, I'll start with that one, because that's just going in order, like, that's the 4 out of 5. Glass Onion's a 5 out of 5.
Okay.
Giving the game away a little bit here, but we'll explain. So The Fabelmans is Steven Spielberg's semi-autobiographical movie that's kind of partially based off his own childhood. And it's about a young boy growing up with a love for the movies, like the way that he develops his love and his want to be a movie maker is fully on display. But that's not the only point of the movie, because we also see the turmoil and, the trials of his family, with his parents being played by Paul Dano and Michelle Williams, and then a really good family friend played by Seth Rogen, an eccentric relative that comes to visit for one scene but completely nails it, or a couple scenes, but nails it, is Judd Hirsch, who Judd Hirsch is just always brilliant.
Yeah.
But it's really, like, this movie kind of really hit my heart right from the beginning, because we see our young protagonist and his parents are waiting in line for a movie, and it's his first movie. And the way that Michelle Williams and Paul Dano explained to this kid what a movie is reminded me why I love movies and why they are so kind of magical. And that's exactly what this movie, that's part of what this movie does, but it also is Steven Spielberg telling parts of his life story through this fictional lens. And something that I'm definitely going to go back to after it is Catch Me If You Can, because this sort of nailed now more than ever why he was the right director for that movie, because a lot of stuff in there sort of overlaps with his own childhood and his own history.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, Fabelmans is expanding into wide release Thanksgiving weekend, but I don't think it's quite like a huge one just yet. So you might still have to wait a little while to see it. And I will say it also has one of the best endings to a film that I've seen in a while.
Okay.
Like just this movie buttons itself on such a note that it's positively cheerful.
Awesome. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me. All right, let's wrap up the movie review. Well, actual movie reviews. We'll talk about the Santa Clauses here, but the Glass Onion next week.
Did you like Knives Out?
I loved it.
Then, oh man, are you in? Oh, we got to drop a bleep there. You are in for an absolute delight with Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery.
I love that one because I like old radio, where it's like the old detective series or, something like that. Which, by the way, if you search for them on YouTube, people are starting to put more and more of them up. So if you like hearing the old, like, yeah, and then I gave him one of these, type stuff.
Yeah.
Knives Out, when I watch it, that's what it reminded me of. It reminded me of old radio, and I loved it.
Oh, yeah, I would not be surprised if that's one of Rian Johnson's influences. I know he obviously loves Agatha Christie mysteries.
Yeah.
And I know with Glass Onion, there's an obscure detective movie that I need to rent, or not a detective movie, but an obscure mystery movie that I need to rent. It's called The Last of Sheila. And it's a whole bunch of friends on a boat. And, they're basically parsing out the murder of one of their party who's not there. And it kind of explains one of the cameos that's in the movie, because there's a cameo moment where the late songwriter Stephen Sondheim appears. And he was one of the writers, I think, and the director of the movie, or at least he was one of the writers of the movie. So that's kind of like why he's there. And there's a couple other really good cameos in that scene I won't spoil, even though they're already widely reported.
Okay.
But yeah.
Knives Out.
Yeah. If you like Knives Out, Glass Onion just vaults over that. And
really,
it's
that good?
Bigger. Huh? It's bigger. It's better. It's lusher, because now Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc is on the case again. We don't quite know how or why, except he's been invited to a murder mystery and I think it's a Greek island. And you've got a cast of characters like Edward Norton, Kate Hudson, Dave Bautista, Janelle Monáe, Catherine Hahn, Leslie Odom Jr., Jessica Henwick. I think I've got Madeline Klein. I think I got everyone there. But once again, Rian Johnson shows everybody that he loves mysteries. He loves twists. He loves making things make sense, and it is like watching some sort of Swiss timepiece in movement. It is that precision and all of these pieces here and there. The movie opens with the guests with a handful of the guests trying to figure out this big puzzle box, because Edward Norton's crazy millionaires invited his friends out to hang out for his birthday. And it's watching these people solve this puzzle box probably would have been enough fun, but then there's plenty of jokes involved. There's like a random celebrity cameo by Yo-Yo Ma in one scene. Like, this whole opening, which I think the opening itself is online that you could watch it.
Okay.
It's this beautiful prologue to everything that comes after. It is like you're technically getting an exposition dump through this because you're being set up with these characters. Oh, Kate Hudson's in this too, and she's brilliant. All of them are brilliant, and you're just getting so much setup through these characters. And I remembered Kate Hudson because her puzzle-solving abilities are actually quite fun. Dave Bautista's a riot, and if we can ever pair Daniel Craig and Janelle Monáe in a film together again, I think that will be a Nobel Prize right there because those two were. It's just as brilliant as when he was working with Ana de Armas in Knives Out itself.
All right, let me ask you a question. Let's see
Sure.
how good this one is, okay?
Okay.
Would you rather see Daniel Craig reprise the role of Benoit Blanc, right? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Or James Bond? If you're going to get a sequel and it was going to be one of those two, done by really?
Blanc. The man is done with James Bond. I would not put him through that again. He wrapped up his run. That is neatly tied up with a bow. I love his Bond, but he has so much more fun with Benoit Blanc. And you even heard it in an interview with Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista, who was in Spectre with him, said, look, I didn't really get to hang out with him much on the set of Spectre, so I really didn't get to know him. But making Glass Onion, we all got to know him. He was cracking jokes. He was having so much fun. And I see that in his performance. You could even see that going back to something like Logan Lucky. Like you could see that Daniel Craig loves comedy. He probably had it as a plan to do more of that whenever he could, and once he was done with Bond. And it's paying off for him, especially coming back to Benoit Blanc for a second time, and you're getting more familiar and you're loving this character even more. And like we're introduced to this man, or a slight spoiler because I loved being surprised by this, but we're introduced to this man having a moment of doubt, playing Among Us over Zoom, wearing a fez, smoking a cigar, and sitting in the bathtub.
I just thought of an amazing comedy I want to see Daniel Craig do.
Oh, please pitch it.
I want to see him be the partner of Liam Neeson in the Naked Gun reboot.
Oh, man. Oh, that would be perfect.
Like he could be Ed.
You get them? Probably. And then you bring in Jeffrey Wright, maybe because of the Bond connection, and he could be like, I wouldn't want to, I say they should retire the character Nordberg and do something different because even before O.J. Simpson was a problem, it was a fun gag, but I don't think it'll play as well anymore.
No.
So just create a new character and bring Jeffrey Wright in because the way he and Daniel Craig worked on In No Time to Die, like that bar scene, watching them like get to be friends was enough that it's like, well, let these guys loose.
Where can we see Glass Onion?
So Glass Onion, go into theaters starting November 23rd for a week. Get your tickets because this is like big theater chains actually paired up with Netflix to do this. So you can get your tickets for that now. Otherwise, it will be streaming on December 23rd, only on Netflix.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me to talk about movies and stuff. Over in the way of Disney Plus, it's a non-Marvel entity, so I feel a little weird not talking about Marvel. But Tim Allen back as Santa Claus.
Yes, Disney has started the Santa Clauses, where basically it's the fourth installment of the Santa Claus saga. Earlier this year, Tim Allen had announced that he was coming back in this show as Santa for 6 episodes. And basically, Scott Calvin is, as you would put it, getting long in the tooth and wants to retire. So, as if that wasn't complicated enough, he's now going to find a new Santa. They discover a new clause that allows him to retire without falling off a roof and dying. And he wants his family to get used to a normal Christmas because he now has 2 kids that have grown up at the North Pole since Santa Claus 3, and they don't know what the real world is like at all.
So that sounds like Elf for some reason.
A little bit. like it's at least these kids know who their parents are.
Yeah.
But the whole fish out of water thing, we haven't really gotten to that point yet because the first 2 episodes were all that they showed us for the press junket.
And those are out now.
That's all. They are out now. Yeah, the first 2 are out on Disney Plus, and I don't know what nights it's gonna. I think it might be every Wednesday. They're gonna have a new one up.
November 23rd, November 30th, December 7th, December 14th. So
yeah, so it looks like every Wednesday they're gonna have a new episode, and then it's 6 episodes long. You've got Kal Penn playing a new character in this brand new expansion, and Tim Allen actually gets to act against his daughter, Elizabeth Allen Dick, in her first big acting role.
Oh, cool! I like it.
And talking to both of them and reading about their history, she would read scripts for Last Man Standing with him and do run-throughs, and they basically built sort of an energy of their own through things like that. She got interested in acting, but her parents were obviously like, well, we kind of wanted her to stick with her studies. We didn't want her to get too distracted. But At the same time, Tim Allen was very hands-off. He's like, look, this is my daughter. I want no part of the decision because I want her to earn this. And they work really well together.
That's cool. And
I'm reserving final judgment until the show ends, but it's gotten off to an interesting start. Especially because there are some jokes that you would expect from a Tim Allen Santa movie where apparently you got to throw in a joke about people being upset that you say Merry Christmas, and there's a joke about, oh, that kid's not naughty, he's just ADHD, and that's misunderstood. And I'm wondering if this would have been better as a movie, but we'll see because we're only in the first 2 episodes here. It's only the first act. It could go anywhere from here.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me to talk about stuff. Excuse me. Sorry, that's that Sprite.
Bright Winter Spice Cranberry. Sponsor us.
Where do we want to wrap up with? I didn't see a ton of news out there. We covered a lot of reviews.
I know what I could.
What's a good wrap up today?
Something I am interested in doing for Thanksgiving.
What's that?
Or for the Thanksgiving season. I've never seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
What?
I've never seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and a big reason why I want to correct that is because there is now a 4K disc with a Blu-ray bonus disc that restores, I think it's 75 minutes of deleted scenes. Because I don't know how much you know about Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, but originally there was a 3.5-hour cut.
Yeah.
There was a massive cut. It was a massive script. There was a massive cut that was shot, and a lot of stuff got trimmed out and trimmed down. And it's been one of those holy grails of footage people have wanted to see. They've restored quite a bit of it, and it is now going to be available for the first time. It's now, I think this disc is currently on shelves, but it is now available for the first time. And not only am I very glad to finally watch this film, but I really want to see what's in these deleted scenes. You rarely ever hear things like this happening.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to tell it to you like this. That movie it'll be one of the funniest movies you see. And there'll be jokes that you take with you for the rest of your life. There's also going to be moments that absolutely rip your heart out.
Oh, I have no doubt. I know some of the movie. I don't know so much the gags, but I know some of the movie. And also, you just pair Steve Martin and John Candy with John Hughes.
It's
again,
wonderful.
That's another formula that it's supposed to work, and apparently it did, and I will find out soon enough.
I can't believe that they don't run this on repeat all day on Thanksgiving.
We don't have an. Oh, see, see, I'm glad I mentioned this movie now, because that's another problem I have. We do not have enough Thanksgiving movies. There's some, Planes, Trains is probably the big one that everybody remembers.
Yeah.
I think there was also Home for the Holidays with Holly Hunter and Robert Downey Jr. But there's a lot of we don't have enough. Do people not people do not think Thanksgiving is dramatic enough? I know you can have some of that same drama at Christmas, but you can tinge it differently here.
I'm looking at some of the stuff. Wow, Addams Family Values was a Thanksgiving movie?
Technically, because they do put on a Thanksgiving play. Like, I'll take it
yeah.
I'll take any excuse to watch Addams Family Values.
Friendsgiving, Freebirds, Turkey Hollow, The Turkey Bowl, The Oath, Holiday, Escape Room, The Blind Side.
Escape Room, but Holiday is actually a really funny one because that covers so many different holidays, and it's an R-rated rom-com that's actually a lot of fun.
A Miracle on 34th Street.
It starts at Thanksgiving, but goes into Christmas and mostly focuses on Christmas.
Let's see. I literally just searched Thanksgiving movies. Curly Sue, You've Got Mail.
I don't know. You could technically say We're Back, a Dinosaur Story as a Thanksgiving movie because, the dinosaurs are in the Thanksgiving Day parade. And you get John Goodman singing a really cool song as a dinosaur.
Mall Cop, Nobody's Fool, Funny People, Jack and Jill, Annie.
I think a lot of these are just, hey, Thanksgiving's in it, so we're going to consider it a Thanksgiving movie and not
Heist.
themed around the holiday.
So, all right.
Tower Heist, I think, involves the Macy's parade, so that's another. Maybe this is something that could be interesting food for thought in a future episode.
Food?
It's Thanksgiving, folks.
And with that, all right.
We would like to thank you all for listening, and we would like to also tell you all to have a happy Thanksgiving as B-sox sends us out
let's
not
get crazy here.
Oh, come on.
No,
you gotta do it.
No, I'm not. I can't do a turkey gobble. I'm sorry.
I don't know if I would want you to either.
On that note,
just a couple of turkeys.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joins me every week to talk about movies and stuff. Mike, have a happy Thanksgiving, okay?
Happy Thanksgiving to you too, man. Go get stuffed.